The Crows Know Your Name. Episode 2. The Murder Circle. Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. They did not leave. That was the first truth Lyra understood when the sun rose again over Valenreach. No matter how tightly she shut her shutters, no matter how far she walked, no matter how loudly she told herself it was madness, the crows remained. Watching, waiting, knowing. She hadn't returned to her room that night. Instead, she followed the half-elf through winding alleys, past shuttered shops and dim lanterns, until the city's noise dulled into a distant murmur. He led her to a narrow stone building wedged between a blacksmith's forge and a crumbling chapel. "You can stay here," he had said. "For now." "For now?" Lyra had repeated. He hadn't answered. Now, dawn crept through the small window of that borrowed room, painting the stone walls in pale gold. And on the windowsill, 3 crows. Lyra sat frozen on the edge of the narrow bed, staring at them. "They followed me," she whispered. The half-elf leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "They always do. You didn't say that. You didn't ask." Lyra clenched her fists. "Stop speaking in riddles. What are they?" He pushed himself off the wall and stepped closer, his expression grave. "In my mother's tongue," he said, "they are called Veil Kor. That means nothing to me. It means those who remember the end." Lyra swallowed hard. "Are they spirits?" "Something like that," he said. "Something older." The crow closest to her tilted its head. "Lyra." She flinched. "Make it stop," she said sharply. "I can't." "Then tell me how to survive it." The half-elf hesitated. "You don't." The words hung in the air like a blade. Lyra stared at him, disbelief turning slowly into anger. "No," she said. "No, that's not good enough. People don't just die because birds decide it." "They don't decide," he replied quietly. "They witness." "Then why me?" He looked at her, really looked, as if weighing something. "What did you leave behind?" he asked. Lyra's chest tightened. "That's not your concern. It is if it followed you here." "It didn't," she snapped. "I left because I wanted to. That's all." The crows rustled softly. The half-elf sighed. "My name is Theron," he said. "And if you want to live longer than the others, you should start telling the truth." Lyra opened her mouth to argue. Then stopped. Because deep down, beneath the fear and anger, there was something else. Guilt. They went back to the market that morning. Not for work. For answers. The place felt different now, quieter, as though something unseen had passed through and left a chill in its wake. People spoke in hushed tones, glancing upward more often than usual. Toward the rooftops. Toward the crows. "They're counting," an old dwarf muttered as Lyra and Theron passed. His beard was thin, his eyes sunken but sharp. "Mark my words. Counting down." Lyra slowed. "Counting what?" The dwarf looked at her, and his expression changed. Recognition. Fear. He took a step back. "You," he whispered. "They've chosen you." Lyra's stomach twisted. "Chosen me for what?" The dwarf shook his head frantically. "No, no, I won't be part of it." He turned and disappeared into the crowd. Lyra stood there, heart hammering. "Chosen," she repeated. Theron's jaw tightened. "There are stories," he said. "Old ones. About a pattern." "What kind of pattern?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he led her through the market, deeper into the older parts of the city, where the buildings leaned closer together, where the stone was darker, worn smooth by centuries. They stopped in front of a wall. At first, Lyra thought it was just another crumbling ruin. Then she saw the markings. Carved into the stone were names. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Scratched, etched, some barely visible beneath layers of time. "What is this?" she asked. "The circle," Theron said quietly. Lyra frowned. "What circle?" He pointed. The names weren't random. They formed a shape. A spiral. No, a ring. Each name connected to the next by faint lines, barely visible unless you knew where to look. "The murder circle," he said. A cold shiver ran through her. Everyone marked by the crows ends up here, he continued. Not physically, but in record, one after another. Death following a pattern no one can break. Lyra stepped closer, scanning the names. Some were human, some elven, some dwarven, all different, all the same. They all died? She whispered. Yes. How? Strangely, Theron said. Violently. Or, impossibly. Lyra's eyes moved across the wall. Then stopped. Her breath caught. At the very edge of the spiral. There was space. A gap. Waiting. No, she whispered. Theron didn't have to say it. That's where your name goes. That night, the first vision came. Lyra didn't remember falling asleep. Only that she was suddenly somewhere else. Standing in the middle of a street she didn't recognize. The sky above was black, filled with circling crows. And in front of her, a man. She knew him, the dwarf from the market. He was running, panting, stumbling, glancing over his shoulder as if something chased him. Stop, Lyra called. He didn't hear her, or couldn't. She tried to move. She couldn't. Her body refused. She was only watching. The dwarf tripped, fell hard against the stone. And the crows descended. A blur of wings, of black feathers, of movement too fast to follow. Then silence. Lyra woke with a gasp. Her heart pounded against her ribs. Sweat clung to her skin. And outside the window, crows. More than before. By morning, the dwarf was dead. They found him in an alley. Torn. Lyra didn't go to see. She didn't need to. I saw it, she told Theron, her voice shaking. Before it happened, he went still. What do you mean? I dreamed it. Every detail. It was exactly the same. Theron cursed under his breath. That's new. New? Lyra snapped. You're telling me this has happened before and no one thought to mention the dreams? They don't usually come that early, he said. Or that clearly. Lyra felt the world closing in. What does that mean? It means, Theron said slowly, you're deeper in this than anyone before you. The crows outside erupted into sudden motion. Both of them turned. A single crow broke away from the group. It flew toward the window. Toward Lyra. It landed on the sill. Closer than ever. Its black eyes locked onto hers. And then, it spoke again. But this time, it wasn't just her name. Circle closes. Lyra's breath hitched. What does that mean? She whispered. The crow's head tilted. Next. Her blood ran cold. Next what? The crow opened its wings. Next you. The vision came again that night. Stronger. Clearer. Lyra stood in a room she didn't recognize. A high place. A tower. Wind howled through broken windows. And there, she saw herself. Standing at the edge. Looking down. No, Lyra whispered. That's not. Her other self turned. Met her gaze. And smiled. Not in fear. Not in panic. But in calm acceptance. Then, she stepped forward. And fell. Lyra screamed. And woke. She was already on her feet before she realized it. The room spun around her. Her chest heaved. I'm going to die, she whispered. Theron stood in the doorway, having clearly heard her scream. Tell me. Lyra shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. I saw it. I saw how it happens. His expression hardened. Where? A tower, she said. High. Broken. I jump. You don't jump, he corrected. They don't force you. That's the cruel part. Lyra stared at him. They make you believe it's your choice. Her legs gave out. She sank to the floor. No, she whispered. No, I won't let that happen. Theron crouched in front of her. Then we break the pattern. How? He hesitated, then said the words she feared most. We find the beginning. That night, the crows did not whisper her name. They didn't need to. Because now, she already knew. They weren't just watching her. They were waiting. For the moment she would step into the circle. For the moment she would complete it. And no matter how far she ran. No matter how hard she fought. The pattern had already begun to close. End of episode 2. For more stories, like and subscribe.